Let's talk about reporting in CRM. I don't know about you, but I run hundreds and hundreds of reports every month. We live and die by numbers. And as with any sales organization should, you don't want to be so strict with your reps, but you definitely want to know exactly everything that's going on in your business. Zoho is unique. We have too many products, too many bundles, and all-in-one bundle, add-ons, and whatnot. So reporting can get pretty complex across this many product lines and this many different types of sales teams across the globe. So what I want to do is explain the back end of Zoho CRM, because once you understand the back end database, the reporting becomes really, really easy. So we'll start with the explanation of the back end of Zoho CRM. So essentially, a CRM is just a database, right? It's a collection of tables. Every single module in which you add data to in the CRM, whether it's a custom module or a pre-built module, is a table on the back end. Okay? Every single time you add a lead or a contact or an account in the CRM, it's another line item in that table, and we log it by using IDs. That's how the reporting system works. It pulls these tables from the back end and joins them together. And that's what a report really is. It's cross-referencing multiple tables already inside the CRM. If you used Excel before, just think of an Excel spreadsheet. That's the entire leads module. Every single line item is a lead. The lead is connected then to a task. The task is on the task table. So what you would do if you want an activity report is you're pulling the task table and the leads table and you're joining it together. And that's how you get your tasks per day for the reps. Those are the two tables you need to pull. So when asked for the module, you pull an activities module and a leads module. So once you get into that mindset, think of everything as a table, the reporting concept is quite easy to understand. So a database is just a collection of information. What makes it unique is that it's clearly organized. You can do views and filters and territories and custom fields, and then, of course, you can pull that information really, really quickly. So what I mean by a collection of information is that it's those tables: leads, contacts, activities, accounts, deals, quotes, invoices, campaigns, and every single custom module that you have. It's clearly organized by what we call on the front end, the modules, the page layouts, the views, the fields, etc. And then how do you pull that information out? That's what reports are, all right? So pulling information from the database. So the challenge is, what do I measure? Not more so, how do I run a report? Once you know what to measure, building the reports is quite easy because you know exactly where the data is going to come from. You know which fields you want to see on the spreadsheet. The easiest way, if you're just learning the reporting section, is think of spreadsheets, think of Excel, something you're already familiar with. That's all a report is. Every single column in that spreadsheet is just a field in the CRM. Whether it's your own field that you made or a default field that's already existing, that's what those columns represent. So once you figure out what to measure, then you can go ahead and think of the type of report. And I'll go through all three types of reports in the CRM. So let's begin with what to measure. So these are some questions you can ask yourself or write down some kind of examples from your own company. How many deals did we close this month? So if you think of that question, what are the important pieces in that sentence? How many deals? So you need to pull information from the deals module, which some of you have as the potentials module. Some of you have renamed it as opportunities module. That's the primary module. And then closing this month, so that means you are going to figure out, did we close this month? You figure out where the stage is equal to closed one, and then your filter is for the current month. So it's three pieces: deals module, stages closed one, filter for this month. What is our total revenue for the quarter? Revenue lies within the amount field, which is, again, in the deals module. So you're pulling the same module again as your primary piece of information, and you need total revenue. So that is the amount field. When you're building the report for the amount field, you want to calculate the sum. And then for the date filter, you're choosing current fiscal quarter, or you can just choose the date range of these 3 months. Again, who is my top salesperson in this territory? It's still the deals module. How do you know who the top salesperson is? We're either going to look at how many deals they've closed or how much money they've brought in. Both pieces of information are still in the deals module. So again, if you think about that sentence, deals module is primary, then you're going to group it by the owner, because that is the salesperson, the owner of the deal. And then again, you can segment it by territories if you have the territory system turned on, or you can segment it by state or region or whatever other fields you have. Another question, how many opportunities are in the pipeline? Guess which module this is? Again, deals module. So opportunity is another word for deal, kind of interchangeable. If you want to know what's in your pipeline, you're going to pull the deals module, and you're going to find where the stage is not closed one. So stage doesn't contain closed one is the only filter you need. You can add more filters to that if you want to specify only certain users, then you can add another filter for user is. If you want to specify states or product lines or product types, you can add other segmentation onto that. What I was really getting at there, and the next question is kind of the same thing, is the deals module is extremely important. If you're not using that module, you can't really pull any of this information because that's where we're tracking the sale itself, right? The lead converts to a contact, and the object that you're tracking through the sales process is the deal or the potential module. That's where all this valuable information is going to come from. Next question, what is the average duration of the deal? If you're using that module, it's automatically going to tell you the duration of that deal, and there is a pre-built reports in the CRM for average duration. The next question, how many leads were converted? That's a pre-built report in the CRM. You may have not known that, but if you dig through the pre-built reports, that's one of the reports that's already given to you. Did we lose any customers? That's going to be anything where stage equals close loss. So I think you're getting the idea here on how this information is being pulled, and anything related to sales is going to be from that deals module. If you need to know the account name, you're going to cross-reference the accounts module. If you want to know how many events or tasks, you cross-reference the activities module. So when I think of reports, I think of them in 3 categories: business results, sales goals, and activity metrics. So from the top down, who wants the business results? The CEO, the VP, the director, managers. They want to know how much revenue is this company making? How much profit did we make? What are some trends that I need to look for? Which product is doing better than the other? Then you have people in sales management roles. They want to know how many leads are being converted, what's in all my salespeople's pipeline, how long are those deals taking to close. And then as a salesperson, you need to know what's going on day to day. What are my tasks I need to do? How many tasks did I close today? How many total activities did I perform? How many calls were made today? How many calls do I have to make tomorrow? And so this is the 3 layers of reports you should have, right? So something to do with total revenue or profit, something to do with what's in your pipeline, and then something to do with your activity. And all of that activity will drive all the results from there. So I'm going to show you each of these types, and I kept the color scheme, red, green, and purple to follow along. So revenue report, so this is coming from the deals module. So all we're seeing here is the team that I have. It's an all-star team of myself, Sheldon Cooper, Ron Swanson, and Harry Potter. Pretty random characters, but now you know a little bit about me because that's all the stuff I kind of like. So next report. We've got a sales objectives or sales target type report. This is a pipeline by stage. You can do pipeline by probability. You can see the number of deals in each stage in the funnel. You can look at the revenue in each funnel if that's what you want to see. So you can change the same report around different ways. And lastly, we have an activity report. In this case, you can see the number of tasks that are open per person, and you can just see a different type of chart. So I showed you a bar graph, showed you the funnel, showed you the donut chart. We also have a pie chart available and some other ones as well. Okay, so now we've figured out what to measure, what metrics we want, what targets we want to set, etc. Then we pull the type of report. So these are easy ways to remember these 3 types of reports. A tabular report is a list. It's similar to a spreadsheet, just up and down list of records. Number of tasks, number of calls, number of deals, and you can view the total at the bottom. Okay? That's the simplest thing to run. That's probably what your spreadsheet looks like. When you have a CRM system or a database, you can then segment the data better, and so I recommend using the summary reports. The summary report lets you then categorize that list. So we have number of calls. Now I can categorize it by owner, number of calls per owner, number of calls per day, number of calls per month. I can take a deals report, just a list of all the deals, and then segment it. Deals by owner, deals by state, deals by owner by state. You can add multiple subcategories as well to organize this information. When you organize this information, then the system can make you a bar chart or a pie graph because you have categories. And that's my favorite type of report to run. Then we have the matrix report. A matrix report, you can only have 2 fields on a matrix report. That's the first key ingredient of building a matrix report. On a summary report, you can have a number of different fields. You can choose as many fields as you want as you make the columns all the way across. But on the matrix report, that top column is just 1 field all the way across. So if it's state, it's just going to be all the states that you have. If it's date, then it's all the days or the months that you have. It's just 1 field. And then down the vertical side, again, 1 more field. So you can do number of calls per month by reps. So you can have all the reps on the left side and all the months across the top, and it would give you the totals in between, and that's the matrix report. Right? It's good for looking at an overview or large amounts of data. You want to see the performance for the entire year. You probably don't want to see every single email address and every single deal name. You just want to see a total per month as your yearly performance. So that's why I like doing this for kind of end of the quarter or end of the year kind of reporting. Now, if we go into the CRM, there's lots of different features for the reports that we currently have. There's about 50 pre-built reports. You can use these as templates to help you along, because you can edit every single one of them and save a different copy, and that will be kind of a way for you to learn a lot easier. Then you can build your own reports from scratch. That's starting with choosing the module, then choosing the fields, the grouping, the filter, saving it to your own folder, etc. Sharing is really important. So if you're a manager and you want to have the reports available for the reps to run, but you don't want the reps to look at your folder because you have some reports in there, you can build your own private folder and have your own reports in there. Or you can make a folder and share it only to the reps and keep everything else privatized. So it's a good way to allow for other people to run reports, but then not see everything that you have. If people are external users, you can export the reports into CSV, XLS, and PDF formats, depending on what you prefer. If you want to take this into Excel and run whatever cross-reference you have with other data from other applications, you can do so. You can schedule reports. So if you run a report every day, 5 p.m. before you leave, just schedule it. It'll be in your email or schedule it for the team. It'll be there and it'll be available. You can set up multiple schedules. And then, of course, once you have a bunch of reports pre-built, then you can have a dashboard. The dashboard is an easy way to look at a lot of information side by side, and then you can click on it and drill down if you need to. What I'm going to focus on is the custom-built reports. I'm going to build 2 of them for you. And we're going to choose the modules, we're going to choose the type, we're going to pick the columns, we're going to group it, and then we're going to add filters. So the 2 reports that I'm going to build are a summary and a matrix. So it's revenue by users and then revenue by state. Or you can call it how much money I made per salesperson and how much money I made in each territory, if its state is going to be your territory segment. So let's move over to the CRM. And I will zoom in. This is a nice, colorful looking dashboard. Let's go to the reports module. So walking through some of these features, on the left-hand side, you see all of what we call folders. And each folder has the option for you to kind of change the name of it, change the order, and then change the sharing. So this is where the sharing is. It's on a folder level basis. It's not on a report level basis. So every time you create a report, you put it in your folder, like Ricky's reports, and if that folder is private only to you, then that's all you'll see. Sorry, no one else will see it but you. If you want to, you can favorite reports. Certain reports may be spread through multiple folders. There's a little star here. If you favorite it, always be at the top. You can also search for folders. If you're like Zoho and you have 100 folders, it's much easier to just search for your folder. And then within the folder itself, you can search for the report. Okay, so these are different ways to categorize it. You also have last run date. So popular reports, you can just click this column and actually pushes them in order of last run date. So it's kind of a hidden thing that you might not know about. Same with this. If you click on report name, it'll alphabetize it for you, right? So sorted ascending or descending. So let's create one. So I'll click on create report here. All right, I'll zoom in. Okay. So first thing we thought about is the back end, right? Which table am I pulling the information from? Well, if it's revenue by users or kind of revenue per person, then revenue comes from the amount field. Amount field is in the deal section. Primary module. Now, everything that's related to that module or joined to that module will appear as a related module to cross-reference. If I just wanted a list of deals and owners, do I really need information from any of the other modules? Not necessarily, but if I want to add the account name and the contact email and the phone number, then probably want to grab information from these 2 modules, okay? If you have custom modules that you've linked, you can also do that as well, okay? And then we choose our reports. Do I just want a list? Well, no, I want to see it by user. So I need to do a category, so I choose a summary report, and I hit continue, and then I get to choose the columns. The columns are just kind of open-ended. Whatever you want to see, you can go back and forth and keep editing it till it's in the order that you want to see it. It gives you a quick suggestion of the kind of the mandatory fields, and you can kind of order this however you want. Let's head over to grouping. Because this is by user, I want to know the category as per deal owner. So when I make a bar chart, those bars represent different owners of all of those deals. Okay? So this stuff, if you want to change it around, you find the field that you want to pull. So if I've got the deals module as the primary, it will be the first one that appears. And if you scroll down this list, you'll see the accounts module and then the contacts module, and I can find what I need to. If I want to reorder those columns, I can do so by moving this up and down. Once you have a number field on here, it automatically detects if it's a integer field, a number field, a currency field. So anything that contains a number, you can do sum, average, lowest, and largest value. Now, you might be thinking that's not that much math. I need a lot more calculation. But in the CRM, you get to do the easy stuff, sum or average. So we can click on this. If I want to know the number of deals, I don't choose deal amount. I'm going to choose, I don't choose anything because the report is going to just calculate the total number of rows. If I actually want to see the revenue total, then I have to choose sum for the deal amount. I have to choose the deal owner grouping, and the kind of the columns thing is more open-ended. So those are two most important things. The last thing is the date filter, and then other types of filters underneath that. We call it advanced and standard. Standard equals date, okay? There's gonna be no other fields in there except date. What date fields are in every single module? Every single module has a created time, a last activity time, and a modified time, okay? So if you wanna use those as date fields, it will be in every single module you're cross-referencing. Everything else is either your custom field that you've created, or in deals module, there's a special field, closing date, or it might be pulling from other apps. Like if I have Sales IQ integrated, I've got the first visit date in there from the website. So that's all this is. You don't see anything else but the date fields. When you choose a date field, you can choose things like fiscal year, fiscal quarter, current month. So there's some tricks here. If you hit the word current, you can pull current week, current month. If you do something like the word last, you can pull last 30 days, last 90 days, last 60 days. If you do FQ, it pulls up the fiscal quarters. All right, so there's little tricks there. There's due in days and age in days as well, looking at deals that have been hanging around too long or tasks, how many days till they're due. This could be also helpful. And then you can choose custom and pick your own fields. If you don't want to do a date field, you don't have to. I just want every single deal in there. I can just skip it. And then the advanced fields, as we call them, are just every single other field you have in the CRM. So as you pick different fields, the type of filter is going to reflect that as well. So if I do account type and I say is, it's a pick list, so it's going to let me choose the options. Okay? If I choose an open-ended, like account name, I get to choose is, isn't, contain, doesn't contain, starts with, etc. The main difference between is and contains is contains can be lowercase or capital. Is has to be an exact match. Okay? And then there's also starts with, and there's kind of hidden, if you scroll down, you see empty or isn't empty, which is really nifty for looking for missing pieces of data. Where is account status empty? And you can pull that report, and then you can have the reps fill that information in. And if we go and choose another type of field, let's choose a number field. All right? So a number field, you don't see is and isn't and contains and all that. You see greater than or equal to, less than. So you see a different type of filter. So just be aware that the type of field does matter in terms of what the filter is going to do. Now we review before we click and run the report. I just want to see revenue by users. Do I really need any filters on there? No, I don't. I just need to make sure it's grouped by users and I've got that amount field tallied up. So I can skip all this information and I can hit continue or run. What's the difference? Running the report is kind of like a test run. You can see the data. If you don't like it, you go back and edit it. Versus continue allows you to name the report, put it in a folder, and save it. Does that mean you can't edit it anymore? Of course you can. It's just a quick way to just see if you're on the right track or not. Right, so we can do rev by user. Word of advice, make sure you do add descriptions. I'm going to be lazy here and skip it, but once you scale up to the way we have, it's ridiculous how much helpful it would have been if we had those descriptions. Went back and added a lot of them back in. I like to put the type of report in my description all the time because sometimes we want to see the same report but as a matrix and then as a summary as well. So that's my piece of advice on that. And then it's going to run the report real quick. So it is a summary report, and I have no date filter, so everything is going to be on here. Because it's a summary report, you'll see this button called Create Chart. So let's go ahead and make a bar chart by deal owner and use record count or sum of amount. Because there's line items in the table that you've just pulled, of course, you can always just see the total. If you don't want to see a total and use the number field that you've tallied up, then you can do it by revenue. And there you go. Your chart is quickly created, just like that screenshot I showed you earlier. Kind of looks like an Excel spreadsheet. And I scroll down, and eventually I'll get to the next person. Looks like I'm doing extremely well, so I have a lot of deals. All right, so here is the subtotal. The subtotal appears because I grouped it and chose I wanted to have a total. So because there's a category and you chose a sum, all those subcategories will total up on the report. So when you export it, it's pretty easy to read in an Excel file or something like that. So it's really just a spreadsheet, something you're very familiar with, and you can change these columns around. If you are unsatisfied with the date filter, you can do it on the fly. You don't have to go ahead and edit the whole report. Just change it, or I want to see it for this month or last month or this week, and quickly just kind of rerun the report. It's not saving it, but it just lets you see a few versions of that report real quick. Then you have your export options, as I mentioned before. You can send this report as an email to someone else. You can go ahead and edit. This is a nifty option as well, duplicate. If you want to run this for just Sheldon and then run it again for Harry and then run it again for Ron, just duplicate it 4 times and you save yourself a lot of work. And then you can change the chart options. All right, and then I can also add it to the dashboard. So that's the summary report, pretty simple to follow along. Let's go back to our reports module and do one more, and that is going to be the matrix report. So matrix report that I want to build is revenue by state. Remember, on the matrix report, I can only choose 2 fields. So if it's revenue, again, it's the deals module. That's really all I need. If I want to pull information from the other 2, I can. Now, in this case, I do want information from contacts. I want the mailing state. Okay, because in my demo account, the billing state is empty. So I want to have the mailing state from the contacts, so I'm going to cross-reference that module as well. Matrix report is what we're going to choose. Notice the builder is completely different. There's only groupings and columns to total. There's no fields. There's no columns. So choose the first field, grabbing the mailing state. Choose the second field, closing date. All right. If you click here, if you leave it as date, it's going to show you every single day. That might be a little bit too much information. I like to see it preferably by month and year, or you can do it per year. So we'll do deal amount again. So very similar to the previous report. No other filters. We're just going to run this, right? So this is a matrix. So we have across the top 1 field, across the left the other field. And in the middle are all of our totals. And because we chose the amount, and if you want to drill down this information, I can click on this, and it drills down exactly where this information came from. And then I can click it, and I'm at the record. All right, so that's a good way to find information and then be able to drill down in detail, but also get a really, really good overview of your entire company and how it's doing. So that's your matrix report, okay? So that's 2 examples there.